What's up, y'all? It's your boy TNT Barbecue, and I'm here to talk brisket with you. So that's what we doing today, talking brisket, baby. Talking the pros and cons, talking about things you do, things you don't do, and yeah. So that's what I want to talk about brisket, guys. You know what I'm saying? I think it's almost the kind of like barbecue. It's the to me, it's the measuring spoon of barbecue. You know, what's going on, family? Not much, not much, not much, not much, nothing much. Everything going on, buddy. Nothing going on here. Where you from? Where you from? Post where you from, brother. Nothing much going on. I'm just chilling, talking briskets. So we're gonna talk brisket. Oh, the string irritating me. I know I'm supposed to have a string there, but it's just sitting right in my side of yeah, but that's gone. Yeah. So we're gonna talk brisket, you guys. And like I say, if you ever want to jump on, just click this link right here. We can jump on and talk with me. And we're gonna talk about brisket tonight. Brisket is our topic tonight. What up, Terry? How you doing? Grill Master, how you doing, brother? Okay, any advice you want to give? Oh yeah, I take it. Okay, I got advice to give you, brother. Coach Mike, what up, Coach? How you doing? So, all right. So we're gonna talk brisket, okay? So you're doing a brisket flat. So okay. So let's jump on this brisket flat. Now I'm not an experienced cook. I done cooked brisket flats before. So let's let's just start talking brisket, okay? So here's my advice, okay, on cooking brisket, okay? And this varies, but I think I'm a great brisket cooker, okay? Just put it out. I believe that I can cook a good brisket, okay? Through a lot of advice, a lot of YouTube, and a lot of trials and error, a lot of money spent flushing briskets down the toilet, drying out briskets. I think I have kind of came up with a of how to keep my briskets juicy and moist. Okay, so with that brisket flat, the first thing I want to do, what do you cook your brisket flat on? So that's the first thing I'd ask you, grill master. What are you cooking your brisket flat on? Cause see, here's the thing: we have to adjust our recipe to what we're cooking on. So let's just let's kind of get that out of the way. What are we cooking on? Pellet grills, offset smokers, Weber Smoky Mountain, Weber Kettle Grill, stick burner, reverse flow smoker. Let's start off with that. Uh, what are we cooking our brisket on? Grill master pellet grill. Okay, so if I had my choice on a pellet grill, okay, always not always, but most of the time I cook my brisket. 90% of the time I cook my brisket fat side down. So since you have a brisket flat, what I would try to do if your pellet grill have a second rack, I will go and cook the brisket on the second rack, fat side down. On the second rack with a water pan up under the brisket, okay? And this is how I would do it, okay? I will start off with a low temperature. First, I'm getting ahead of myself. When you're doing a brisket flat, I would do the very minimum trimming. You don't want to trim that brisket fat aggressive like you would trim a pack of brisket, due to the fact that you don't have the it's not as forgiving as it is for as a whole pack of brisket. So what I would do is I would start off fat cap. I would start off fat cap down, and I would season it with either some Uncle Steve cow powder, Lucky powder, or either with some salt, pepper, and garlic. And I would use, if you're using Morton's kosher salt, I would use a 50 to 25 ratio of black pepper and salt, and then use about 10% of garlic and 10% of onion. Make sure it's granulated, okay? I will always use a coarse ground black pepper. It don't have to be 16 mesh, but it has to be coarse ground black pepper. Do not put no fine ground black pepper on your brisket, okay? Use some heavier mesh black pepper, okay? So we'll get it seasoned. Try to remove all the silver skin off of that flat, okay? Because to me, sometimes silver skin can remove your bark, okay? It will do that. So I will cook it on the top rack. If you don't got a top rack, cook it on the bottom rack. But understand, I will not set my brisket if I can. If you got a bigger pellet cooker, stay away from the fire pot. Don't put the brisket directly over the fire pot. Try to put it over the edges of where the fire pot is located, either to the right side or the left side, okay? So these placements are very important when you're doing briskets and things of that nature, okay? But if you have a top rack, put it on your top rack, get a water pan and put water in your smoker, fat cap down in your smoker. Start with low temperatures. When I say low temperature, I mean like 180 to 200, and use a hardwood. I will use either oak, pecan. You can use hickory or you can use mesquite. I will start with those heavy woods. I will go a little higher than smoke setting. I will go, if you have a 160 and say, for instance, you're going 5 degree increments, I will go up to 185, 190 and just leave it at that. Let it cook, because the fluctuation of pellet grills is actually better. I'm learning this, okay? The more your pellet grill, the bigger the fluctuations are, the more smoke you get on your pellet grill. So please don't get caught up on the pellet grill keeping straight temperatures between 5 degrees and 6 degrees. I'm learning the more fluctuation of temperature swings you have, especially on the lower ends, is better than having a straight temperature swing at 5 degree increments for your actual temperature you're cooking on. So say for instance, if your pellet grill is cooking at 185 and it drops to 165 and it shoots up to 210, 205, that is the swing I need, because that's telling me that those pellets are smoldering, and before it ignites, I'm getting that good smoke flavor. I'm getting the smokiness out of the pellet grill. And that's why a lot of pellet grills don't get a good smoke flavor, because the pellets are burning faster. They don't have time. They're producing more heat than the smoke flavor that they need to produce. So that is going to help you get a better smoke flavor on your brisket. So fat sat down. You want to smoke it. Don't look at it. Okay. Everybody said 165, all right? But I'm going to take it further. You don't wrap that brisket until your bark sets. When your bark is set in a way that it needs to be spritzed in order to drop the moisten the bark up, that's when you want to wrap your brisket. Now, wrapping, you can do butcher's paper, you can use foil, you can use a pan. If I'm doing a brisket flat, I will use aluminum foil. And in that brisket flat, you have to compensate moisture. So I will wrap my brisket in either a stick of butter, some margarine, or some bacon grease, or some beef tallow. You need some type of fat to go into your wrap. With some, I will add some beef broth to that too, but make sure it has low sodium broth or low sodium beef stock, so it don't add more salt content to your brisket. And so you want to use the butter, or you want to use beef consomme. You can use beef consomme to mix with the butter, but you have to add that moisture into that wrap when you do wrap your brisket, when you're cooking just the plain flat. And always remember the baseline is 200 degrees, 205 degrees. But you remember your brisket carries over. So as soon as I think that brisket is getting tender, and say for instance, I got parts of my brisket that just a little tight, don't worry about that because it's gonna continue cooking. And the worst thing you can do is cook a brisket to tenderness and don't vent the brisket because then you're gonna overcook the brisket once you rest it because it's gonna shoot up, and that's how the brisket tears and shreds when you cook it. Okay, so you want to make sure that when you're done cooking your brisket and your brisket is resting, that you put it in successful rest time. And a successful rest time is first loosen the aluminum foil, let that steam out. If you don't know, but crack it open, let the steam come out, escape for like 10 or 15, 20 minutes. That's the difference between a dry brisket and a great brisket. I'm telling you, let that steam escape, let the brisket start cooling down. You don't know how much that temperature will drop if you let that steam out of that brisket. I'm telling you, you got to let that steam out of that brisket, out of that foil or anything. You got to let that brisket just breathe. Then you wrap the brisket back up, okay? And you let it sit in your oven or cooler. Then once it reaches a temperature, I would say lower than 180. So 190, that's not cool enough because then you still have an opportunity where you put it down in the cooler, it can still shoot back up and overcook. So once you hit that 180 range, then your brisket is ready for a rest period then, okay? Do not put your brisket 205 and put it in the cooler and wrap it with a towel because that brisket going to shoot up to 210, 215, and it's going to be dry. It's going to overcook, or it's going to be crumbly, or it's going to shred apart. It's just going to overcook. Then you're going to have chopped beef. So it's not wrong with chopped beef, but if you want a good slice of a brisket, you have to understand about, okay, what you saying? Yes, you got to open aluminum foil to let that brisket breathe, to let it cool down before you put it in a Cambro or cooler or your oven. You got to let it breathe. You got to let that steam out of it. And once you do that, okay. So once you get that brisket calm and collected, and around 180, you could then wrap it in a towel, put it in the cooler, put it in the Cambro, put it in your oven. You can do all that, okay? And then the brisket will hold and keep warm, but it's not actually cooking. It's keeping warm and it's resting what it should do. You put it in that cooler, it's going to take off. It's going to hit the highway, and them temperatures going to spike up. And when the temperatures spike up, it's just going to overcook. Then when you go to slicing, that's when you see the brisket falling apart. This is a common mistake that I have made, and that a lot of pit masters make when they decide to cook briskets. They go ahead, they do all the hard work, they do the seasoning, they do the trim. They say, "Ted, I did everything you said do, and my brisket came out dry." Well, you got to rest the brisket, yeah, and rest the brisket consists of letting the steam out of the aluminum foil, letting the steam out of the butcher's paper, letting the steam out of the pan, letting it cool down to about 190, then wrapping it back up, putting it inside of the oven, then you keeping it warm. Okay, so we're here talking about brisket, okay? So people saying, well, every time I steam my bark off, my bark steams off. Okay, I got a trick for you, okay? So when you take your brisket out of that juice, okay, and you see that your bark can move your bark, okay? Your bark is movable. And you know you can scratch your bark and get a finger full of bark because it didn't set on your brisket because probably had too much moisture or whatever. You didn't wrap it tight enough, whatever the situation may be. All you got to do is put your smoker on 180 or 200 degrees, put your brisket back on the smoker for internal temperature 180. Yeah, that's when you want to start rest. That's when your brisket is ready to rest. Yeah, when it hits that 180, that's when you know your brisket is ready to start resting because it's on its way down. It's not on its way up. So you want to catch the brisket on the way down, then start getting into the rest period. Okay. So when your bark gets to the point where it's smushy, the game is not over, guys. The game is not over. Thank you, Jesus, that it's not the end of the world. You don't have to freak out. All you have to do is take your brisket out of the foil, out of the butcher's paper, put it back on the smoker. Because you know, your brisket right now is like 180, 165, 170. And let the smoke and let the heat. What the heat'll do is it'll dry your brisket out on the outside, not on the inside. On the outside, your bark will form back on your brisket. Yes, it will actually form your bark. You can save your bark. All you gotta do is place your brisket back on the smoker. You're not gonna overcook it. You're not gonna damage your brisket. Once your brisket is cooled down to the point where you can, and you find out that the bark is not set, the bark is still loose on your brisket because of the way you wrapped it, and that's a mistake that we all make. Just put your brisket back on the smoker at a lower temperature, and that smoke, and especially those fans on those triggers or those pellet grills, they will blow and they will dry the outside of that brisket out, and your bark will form back, and it don't take long. It probably take 35 minutes, 40 minutes, not even that probably. It's just that you have to remember that when you got to adapt and overcome. And this is one of those things where you got to adapt and overcome when you do that. This is why a lot of people saying, well, I don't like aluminum foil because it steams all the bark off your brisket. No, it don't. It got a lot to do with your wrapping technique. So you have to understand that doing some beef back ribs tomorrow, thinking about using your sauce with the mustard. Awesome. Man, I got some good mustard sauce. That mustard sauce is off the chain, man. I'm telling you guys, thank you, thank you, thank you. Use it. You will love it. You will love it. You will love it. You will love it. So yeah. So please understand that, okay? You have to remember that the success, how you get there, a juicy, moist, sparky brisket, it's many avenues you can take. It's not just one way to take to a good brisket, okay? Florida in the house. What's up? What's up? Florida in the house. FLA. So you don't have to take how you doing? You don't have to take one avenue to Arizona house. You don't have to take one avenue to get successful to have a good brisket. But you always have to remember when you start cooking those briskets, and when something, first of all, make time to cook brisket. Yeah, amen, amen, amen. 1 or 8. Yes, that's right. So you have to, when you're cooking brisket, you have to understand the avenues you're taking. For instance, with a stick burner, okay? I'm gonna tell you, I cook fat side up. When I'm cooking at a stick burner, offset smoker, a reverse flow smoker, I'm cooking fat side up. And the reason why is because I want the heat to hit my fat side and to help it render. So the fat side down, I'm not, people say, hey, trim your brisket or trim that fat cap 1/4 inch when you're using a pellet grill. I don't do that because what I find out is it rendered that fat so good while it's cooking fat side down. It creates an absolutely good smoke ring. But the problem you get is it's so crunchy and hard on the bottom of your brisket until when you try to slice it, it tears instead of slicing. It tears the bark tears because it's crunchy and it's hard on the bottom. So those grain that you're cutting against the grain, they get so hard. You know what I'm talking about? It tears off. So now you got these gashes inside of your brisket slices. Them little gashes like paint chips or look like chips off your brisket. That's because you trim too much fat cap off your brisket. And when you did on a pellet grill, you cook fat side down. The same exact way when you wrapping your brisket, you have to be careful how you wrap your brisket, that you don't just all of a sudden put the brisket, wrap it, cut your smoker up high to 350 degrees. Because if you do what I tell you to do, and you cut your smoker to 350 degrees, what's going to wind up happening is it's going to start frying your brisket because you have oil or you have grease or you have some type of fat inside there, and that will also give you that tough, hard bark. So that's what I would do. And don't be scared to cook your brisket overnight. You know what though? Grill master, I know you're talking about the size and your family and things of that nature, but it's actually cheaper to buy a. I see most flats; they're like $89, $90. You get a pack of brisket for 75, $80 because I think a flat is like $7, and then a point. It depends on what part of the state. I mean, a packer, a flat is like $7 a pound. A whole packer is 5, 4, some states 3.99, $4 a pound. So you can get that, and you can do other things with it, like vacuum seal it, or even separate the point and just do burn ends for your family. So actually, you can do both of them and still have the burn ends, or still have a flat for one day. So you could actually separate your point and flat, and that will actually help you with your butchering skills too. Just learn how to separate your point and flat. You know what I'm saying? So I understand what you're saying. It makes a lot of sense. But then again, though, you get bang for your buck because, they may want burn ends one day. And nothing better than some burn ends off of a flat. And I think that's what I'm going to start. I'm going to do a video on some burn ends one day. I haven't did that yet. Good evening to you. What's up, Stephen? How you doing, brother? Good evening to you, brother. Yeah, that's my guy, old Stephen. He's a great guy. So that's what I would do. But like I say, if anybody want to come in and ask questions about briskets, I'm going to post a link right here in the chat, and you just click on. We can talk about pellet cooking brisket. We can talk about, somebody asked about electric smokers, okay? Let's talk about electric smokers. I love myself some electric smokers. I'm not even going to exaggerate. T loves some electric smokers. Masterbuilt electric smoker. I love electric smokers. I don't know why, I'm just fascinated with electric smokers. It's kind of my thing, to kind of take something that's not so necessary the way you do it and make it taste like the way I did it. I like that. What's the word? I like that challenge. Taking something that not necessary. What? All right, point taken, point taken, point taken. I appreciate it, point taken. So, see, that's what I'm talking about. For $75, a 14.5 brisket. Amen. Okay, I appreciate it. So, electric smokers, you want to make sure that when you use an electric smoker, you want to make sure that you use, to me, I like to use a hardwood for my electric smoker. And the thing that a lot of people mess up with electric smokers is they put the wood in there, whether it be a Masterbuilt or whether it be any other electric smoker, and they just think the wood is supposed to smoke because the hot rod up under the wood. But a lot of those electric smokers are insulated real good. They are insulated. They're insulated a lot better than pellet cookers. And those hot rods cut off. Those rods that heats up that element. Once it reaches that certain temperature, it cuts off. So your pellets or wood chips may smoke for a while, but as soon as the hot rod cut off, your smoke dissipates. And then you look up on your chip tray, you got all these unburned chips. So what you have to do to make a smoker to act like you want to, you have to open that door to let that cool down every hour. So stretch your meat, let it cool down every hour, then close it back up. And then the heat rod will heat up and it will start getting those wood chips to burning. So that's a trick that I learned with electric smokers. So that's the reason why a lot of electric smokers, people say, it smokes for the first couple hours, then it stops smoking. Yeah, because it has reached the temperature of what you achieve as your target temperature, and the hot rod cuts off and it's so insulated until the heat stays into those boxes for a long time. So it's cooking the meat, but it's not smoking the meat. So you have to that's why I say you need those fluctuation of temperatures so that you can achieve the smoky flavor that you want. And that's the same thing with pellet grills. Pellet grills that fluctuate 25 degrees, 30 degrees, I don't mind because I'm actually cooking like a stick burner due to the fact that I'm getting smoke flavor because the pellets are dumping in an inconsistent way and they're not burning they're not combusting as soon as they get in there, smoldering a little bit before it starts combusting. And that's why you see a lot of top of the line smokers that have that inconsistency of smoke. For instance, I have a Traeger Timberline 1300, and that thing swings temperature when you put it in a smoke mode. Well, it has to do that because it has to do that in order to have a super smoke mode on it. It has to go low, high, and because the pellets have to simmer for a little while before they go into full combustion. So that's a good thing too. I use oak wood on my brisket. Okay, so the different kind of flavors. Okay, so when I think about oak flavor, okay, oak gives this flavor where it's an ingredient. Okay, oak acts as an ingredient. Okay, salt, pepper, garlic, oak flavor. Think about it that way. Hickory is an ingredient, but hickory is one of those ingredients that you just need a little bit of. To me, hickory is a finishing wood. So hickory would be a wood that if I was to say, for instance, I'm cooking like a loin or cooking something that I really want to throw some smoke on, and I got a short period of time, I will throw a chunk of hickory on to get that smoky flavor infused, and then herping, don't use it no more because it can get bitter and it can get bitter quick. But with oak, it's like, okay, this is smoky, but it's not to the point where that's all I'm tasting. I can taste the sauce. I can taste the salt. I can taste the pepper. I can taste the garlic. I can taste the meat. I can taste all that. Oak is a complementary wood. It's a very distinct wood for the heat, and it gives a real nutty flavor to the meat. It pairs well with beef because it wakes the beef up. In my opinion, it wakes the beef up. It gives the beef a little umami flavor. I know people throw that word around, but that smoke flavor hits a different kind of sense, especially hickory and cherry. To me, it's a great wood where it is very unexplainable the way oak tastes. Now, pecan wood, you could check out pecan wood. Cherry wood, you can mistake cherry wood for oak wood for its flavor, but color tells on cherry wood. Do that make sense? So the color of your meat will tell on cherry wood and cherry pellets. So the color will tell a story. But oak has a very distinct flavor that you can't describe. That's why I say umami. Hickory is aggressive. Mesquite is very aggressive. That's why I say electric grills, I don't mind using aggressive wood because you need that boost of aggressiveness when you're using pellet grills and when you're using things of that nature. But if I was cooking on a stick burner, I would stray away from mesquite. I would stray away from hickory, and that's just me, guys. A lot of people live by hickory, but that just thank you. That's just the way I look at things. Okay, drum smokers versus pellet smokers. Okay, so a drum smoker to me is good in the aspect where if I was gonna cook something and I'm not a I'm not a expert cooking in a drum smoker. I had one before, and you got to know what you're doing controlling temperatures in a drum smoker. So I would say a drum smoker gives you the flavor. All right, so if you like open fire flavor, what I mean by that, if you like that flavor where the juices are hitting the coals and splashing up and it's creating that smell, and it's nothing like it. Okay, you cannot mimic a drum smoker or a fire pit. The fire pit is far beyond a drum smoker flavor, but the drum smoker is the closest thing you're gonna get to a open pit style barbecue, due to the fact that the juices from the meat is dripping out. So you can't duplicate that with a pellet grill, but you can't duplicate the low cooking you could do on a pellet grill with a drum smoker. You think you can, but I'm telling you, it's hard. A drum smoker is not meant to be cooked low and slow. 225, a drum smoker, your fire gonna go out. I'm just saying, your fire gonna go out. You know, it's just hard to keep that thing lower than 265, 275, 280. So it has its, I guess it has its pros and cons. So me personally, I will go with a pellet grill over a drum smoker because it has more diversity. It has more things you can do. Uh, so I would go with that. Now, drum smoker, if I was doing a competition ribs and things of that nature, I would go with a drum smoker because it's easy to move. It don't take up a lot of space, all that type of stuff. But one thing about a drum smoker is they're very hard to clean. They're very hard to clean. I'm telling you, they are. They are. So that's a strike against a drum smoker. A drum smoker, a drum smoker can get away from you pretty quick. So you got to make sure. Uh, you got to make sure that when you're doing a drum smoker, I mean, if you leave that lid open, man, you can have a flame out of this world and burn everything you got. So you got to make sure that when you're using those types of things, you got to understand the risk. The pellet grill, no electricity, no food. So that's a strike against the pellet grill. You know, same thing happened to pellet grill. So I hope I answered some of your questions. Okay. All right. So let's talk about trimming brisket, okay? So to me, all right, you buy 75, $80, let's say $100 worth of brisket, okay? You go there, you have to trim this brisket, okay? Because some people say, well, I leave everything on and all this kind of stuff. Well, you're not going to get a good quality product doing that. If I'm going to spend $100, I want everything I take off that smoker to be edible. And you just got to do a good trim in order to achieve the thickness you want of your brisket, which will help you cook it successful. So in order to cook a successful pack of brisket, you have to have a game plan. And a game plan on the brisket is a good trim. You have to have that trim. You have to have where you're creating that aerodynamic brisket shape. You're also, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. God bless you, Mr. Green. Rufus Green, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. God bless you. But you have to have that brisket trimmed and everything. Oh no, I ain't gonna no. Uh yes you can. Yes you can. Yes, man, you can do all that. You can back and sit out brisket, but let me get back to this question, okay? So the game plan you have is when you're trimming that brisket, okay? You want to make it aerodynamic. You want to trim that brown stuff, that decoloration stuff off. You want to trim that off. And plus, they're going to dispose how thick your fat cap is, okay? And another thing, too, is the deco. You want to make sure you take that deco off and things of that nature, okay? You always want to make sure you do that kind of stuff. So I'm going to answer your question right now, sir. You can vacuum seal and reheat your brisket. Yes, you can. Uh, yeah, you can vacuum seal your brisket and then you can reheat it. Yeah, that'll be no problem. What I would do is I will get my brisket. I will smoke it. I will let it cool down. I will do everything like I'm supposed to do. I will let it cool down till I can put it in my refrigerator. And then I will let it cool in the juices that it has. And then you will get this it's like lard build up around your brisket, okay? That's good. I will put that actually inside of the vacuum seal bag, okay? And I will save my juices into a cup and freeze it, okay? And then I will vacuum seal that brisket. And when I'm warming it up, I will put my oven on 170 or my smoker on smoke setting. And I would just warm it up like that, slowly but surely. And I would just keep it like that. I won't warm it up in aluminum foil or nothing. I would just do like a cookie sheet with a cooling rack and just warm it up like that. And that's how I would warm that brisket up like that. Yes, I have used a Wagyu tallow on my brisket. Yes, yes, I have. I have did that. You know, I when I used the Wagyu tallow on my brisket, I didn't see the difference between that brisket and using the tallow I used when I did it off the brisket trimmings the day of my cook. So I would say you can use a Wagyu tallow or just make your own tallow. And I'm telling you, man, the tallow works. So let me get this out to say the tallow works. Any kind of beef tallow will work when you do your cook. Now, what I recommend if you're going to do the tallow on your wrap, I recommend you keeping it hard and just scooping it out in your foil, and then putting your brisket on top of it, and then wrapping your brisket, and because it's a lot more easy to work with when it's hard. So that's what I would do. So with the Wagyu beef tallow, yeah, I would do that. All right. So the wood to season your smoke with, I recommend oak wood because oak wood gonna burn the hottest. Uh, Oak wood burn the hottest, and to me, oak wood is a wood that doesn't linger like hickory. Actually, you can cook hickory in your smoker, and your smoker will smell like hickory wood to the day you get rid of it. I'm telling you, man, you ever smell somebody pit and say, oh man, it smell my pit, it smells just like barbecue? Yes, it does, because they burn that hickory in it. And the thing about hickory, if that hickory don't have the right moisture content in it, or if it's not seasoned right, and it's got a little green spots in it, when I mean green spots, I mean like where it didn't season, where it didn't rot to the fullest, and it's not dried out. If I ever use hickory wood, it got to be lower than 10%. I mean, I can use oak wood 20% on down, but if I'm using hickory wood, it got to be lower than 10% of humidity or more. They have meters that they read the content of the moisture of the wood. And it got I mean, I'm telling you, you got to make sure you use hickory wood. It got to be dry. That means as soon as you drop that thing in there, it got to flame up. You don't want to have hickory smoldering at all. Because when hickory smolders, it gets white smoke and it gets bitter. I'm telling you, it does. Oh man, ghee. So beef tallow or ghee for the brisket. Hey, you can't slip on that ghee, man. I'm telling you. Oh man, or butter. Whatever you have. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Use a fat. I'm telling you, use a fat, you will be rewarded. So I will actually use a little bit of both. I will put a little ghee and a little beef tallow in there. And like I said, I will let it be hard because it's easy to work with. Because when you get it wrapped up, you put your brisket in, you wrap everything up, then it'll start melting. And then by the time it go to melting, you already have it in. But when you pour it in there, you get a mess like I did on my last video when I spilled it all over my island in my kitchen. When I said I wasn't going to do it, I didn't mention it on the video. I just saw it. I was like, I'm not going to say nothing about that. So, yeah. Yeah. Let me see. Can I get back to some questions? I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, but yeah. So that. Oh, no problem. No problem. Learn. Cooking outside. Learn. Outsider, learn. Please, bro. Look. I'm welcoming anybody. You don't have to be a pit master. You don't have to be a backyard pit warrior, all that kind of stuff. You got to work with kettle grill. Please, if I can help you out, they'll link right there. Just come on in and we can talk right there. Just click on that link right there and we can talk about barbecue. But yeah, but yeah. So yes, but yeah. So long as you're using fat, now you want to say sorry for the questions, man? No. Uh, I prefer. I never cooked with post oak before. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I cook with blackjack oak. I cook with red oak. I cook with white oak. So to me, whatever oak that's in that moisture content, 20 on down, 20% moisture content. And here's the way I'm gonna tell you how to check your moisture content. If you get a log and and you take a splinter off that log, about a splinter about that wide, just a little splinter. If you can bend it and it don't pop, it don't break, and if it bends, you can fold it and make a square out of it, or do all this with it. Don't put that in your smoker. Do not put that in your smoker. Okay, I'm gonna repeat myself again. If you got logs, okay, for your smoker, and you get a knife or a hatchet or something, and you slit off a splinter or whatever a wood chip or something, and it's about this long and it's thin, real thin, like that thin. And if you could bend that thing and flex it and do all this with it, it's not ready for that smoker, man. I'm telling you, it's not ready. Do not put that wood in your smoker because you will start seeing bubbles come out of your wood. And when you start seeing bubbles come out of your wood and your wood is steaming, that you gonna have some bitter tasting food. You finna have some white smoke. I don't care how clean your fire burning, you finna have some nasty tasting food because that's the sap and that's the creosote. That's all that stuff burning into your food because that the heat and the steam is carrying the smoke is carrying the steam products and that steam and vapor is heavier than the smoke and then it's dropping down on top of your food and now you're getting all that stuff that's dropping out of that smoke on that's connecting itself to your food as it's passing through going out of your chimney and that's how you get the bitter taste and smoke flavor on your food because you're using uh not good moisture content. What's up, bro? My brother from Orlando, Florida, coming on the hill. Guy, what's up, man? How you
What's
doing?
up with you?
Nothing much. Go Gators, man.
Yeah, they doing all right. They doing all right this year. We'll see if they can keep it up.
Man, they kind of disappointed me though when they lost against Kentucky, man. But that's okay. Win some, you lose some.
Yeah, you see, anybody could lose. You see what happened to Alabama.
Hey, look. Hey, everybody can be beaten. They
Yes,
proved that
sir.
last night in boxing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They
Yes,
proved
sir.
it in boxing. That boy put hands on that boy.
Yeah, that was a good fight. I
Yes, sir.
I wanted to holler at you because I probably gonna just have to hop on and hop off
Okay.
because I'm getting ready to get dinner soon. But I'm planning on cooking a brisket tomorrow, and I've cooked one. I've cooked one probably about 3-4 times, and the last time it turned out real good. But this time I'm gonna cook it on my pit loss, and so I'm gonna cook it on that. And I wanted to get your suggestions on what I should do to season it, how I should season it, and then just, while I'm cooking it, what I should look for and what I should use to wrap and stuff like that.
You got the
In
Austin
my
XL?
say that again.
You got the Austin XL pit boss?
Yeah.
Okay. So
So
you want
like you talk about with those temperature swings, I think what I'm gonna do is just use the P settings, and it seemed like I
mm-hmm.
got better control when I put it on smoke and use those P settings.
Yes. So what I recommend you to do with the Austin XL, okay? The fire pot is somewhat right in the middle of that smoker, okay? If you can, try to keep the brisket on the opposite side of that, keep the flat, no, the point on the same. So the fire pot's here, keep the point right here, and keep the brisket towards the chimney. And then if you can cook on your top right, your top right big enough for your brisket to fit on.
No.
Okay, then keep it. Then take your top rack off, and then keep it on the side, the opposite of that fire pot. That is first thing I would do. Okay. The second thing I would do is I would season it. If you don't have no Uncle Steve shake, cow powder.
Well, this is what I was going to tell you. I was going to give you what I have. I got, of course, salt, pepper, and garlic. I just got a Suckle Buster's SPG. I got Uncle Steve's Gator Shake, and I got his beef or cow powder, and that's about it. And I got a jalapeno rub. So I was going to ask, what would you recommend?
I recommend getting a little kosher salt the night before, sprinkle on that, okay? And just do a dry brine, okay? And then
I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's not going to dry it out because some people said it'll take all the moisture out.
Nope, it won't. It won't. And then once you do that, you go with that Uncle Steve shake over it, pretty heavy, okay? For about 20, 30 minutes, okay? Put it on there. When you trim your brisket, try to kind of trim it aerodynamic, leave more fat than less on the fat cap because you're cooking the fat side down, okay? And then I will give myself, if you want to eat at 6 o'clock, I will put it on smoke setting 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning. Don't count that, okay? and let it cook on that smoke setting for at least 3 or 4 hours. Then I would cut up to 225 and let it go until the bark sets. And once that bark sets real good, the guideline is 165, they say, but it may not set at 165. It may set at 180. But don't do it until that bark has set. Once the bark sot, you can probably spritz it, or you go right into the wrap. I would go right into the wrap if I was you. And what I would do is I would do like a wrap like this. I would get 2 big pieces of aluminum foil. I would get butter or ghee, or even if you got trimming off the brisket, I'll put the trimmings in the oven and make my own tallow. Just put it in the oven overnight at 225 in a pan. And when you wake up in the morning, you'll have beef tallow. You don't have to filter it. You don't have to do all that stuff. Just pour it in a cup and put it in your refrigerator, and it's gonna harden up like butter. Okay? Dump that into your wrap. Put your brisket on top. Wrap your sides up. Make sure you don't double wrap your brisket. Flip it over. Crinkle the sides like I did the last brisket I did. Did you see my last video?
I've seen you crimple it like that before.
Yes, crimple the sides around your brisket, real tight. Put it back on your smoker to its probe temperature. 200 to 205 is a guideline. So if you start feeling it tender, and you say, well, it's tender, but it got a couple of spots that's not tender, take it off. Take it off, because the difference between a good brisket and a great brisket or a bad brisket is that time you waiting, because that time you waiting for that spot to get tender, this is overcooked. So you got to kind of say, okay, I'm good with this, okay? That middle of that brisket, if it's tender in that middle, and it's tender, and I'd rather have a tender, moist, juicy point and some of the flat than have my flat real tender and then the rest of my brisket dry, overcooked. When you take it off, first thing I do is unwrap one side, put it in the aluminum pan, unwrap one side of that pan, and let it steam out. Let all that steam out of there. Once that steam gets out of there, for 10 or 15 minutes, foil it back up, like crimp it back up. Then you can put in your cooler, then you can put in your oven, then you can put somewhere to rest it, okay? Then the rest begins, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. If you take, like I said, if you take it out of aluminum foil, you be like, man, look at my bark. My bark it's all slimy and stuff. Pit ball still going, put it back on the pit balls for 20 or 30 minutes. And that will dry that bark out, because it's convection. It got fans in it. Right. So it's blowing air all the way around that brisket. So that's going to help dry that bark out, and it's going to form that bark right back up. So that's what I recommend you doing. And save those juices. So when you slice them, and I'm going to tell you another thing too, where people mess up, sometimes when you see me sometimes put juice on stuff, I don't try to just pour the juice like round to the bark. I try to put the juice, what's up, Brother James? I try to put the juice kind of around the brisket, like, just around it and kind of like on the meat part. And that's just because I don't want to get rid of my bark. But I will go fat side down. You're going to get a better smoke ring. That fat is going to protect your brisket from the heat, radiant heat off of the heat deflector. And like I say, that Uncle Steve shake going to give you a bark out of this world.
Okay. Really, so I just had a few questions based on what you said, and everything sounded great.
Yes.
But so the tallow, does it make it greasy when you put the tallow on there?
No, it's the mouthfeel it gives me. it's that mouthfeel. It's like you eating a whole brisket point. It feels like way. Even in the flat, it's like, oh man, you getting that different moisture. You know what I'm saying? Cause really, moisture in brisket is what? Fat.
Fat. Yeah.
Marbling is what? When you see that nice marbling, what is that?
Yeah. That's that intermuscular fat.
Fat.
Fat
Yeah.
is flavor.
So what you're doing is when you get butter and you melt it down as liquid, correct?
Right.
And when you take the butter off the microwave, and you set it down somewhere, you come back 20, 30 minutes later, an hour later, that butter done hardened up, correct? And it's
Right.
going back into the mold it's sitting in. Well, you got to think about once that brisket sucks that fat back in, once it cools down, it's in there now. So what's on the outside, it can't go in no more because the brisket done relax and it suck everything in. And now it coagulated like we do when we get cut. Your blood coagulates, and once that tallow hardens or butter or whatever you use hardens, it creates a film around your brisket. I done seen it myself. Like a when I leave my brisket in a refrigerator, it gets like that crusty film around it. You ever seen brisket do that? Like once you
Right.
cook it, leave it in the refrigerator, any kind of meat, it gets like that film around it. Well, that's all it is. The fat's and coagulated and it got hard around the meat. That meat is still good, but that's basically what you're trying to do. You're trying to get it where it coagulates again, and when it's hot, it's open. So when it gets cool, it's closed, and but it can't take it no more. And now it cooled down, and now your brisket is full of this flavorful beef goodness.
Okay. All right. All right.
You know,
Those are good tips.
and the thing about it though is that I had to try to be a believer. That's one thing about me. I'm out here, I'm trying to learn because my whole thing is if you're not learning and you're not trying to step your game up on something, because we grew up in Florida, we didn't grow up cooking brisket. We grew
Right.
up cooking ribs and chicken quarters and chickens. That was
Right.
it. And
Right.
whole hogs and goats. That was our cooking. So when I learned how to cook brisket, it was a very painful growing thing, very expensive,
Right.
very painful.
That's why I'm on the phone with you. I'm trying not to waste my money.
See, that's what I'm trying to say. So I think once you do that, and the way you wrap it, and the way you let it rest, I think you'll have success.
Okay. And so when I'm wrapping it, all I'm using is butter and tallow. That's it. No beef
That's
broth,
it.
no nothing else.
You can add broth if you want to, but you don't want to have it too saturated because you're gonna wrap it real tight, okay? So if you add butter and tallow, just leave it at that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But if you don't have too much of that, add some beef consomme or broth. You know what I'm saying? Like if you got one stick of butter, half of a can of beef consomme, and then wrap it in and do what you do. Don't do like me and spit it on my counter and just act like nobody didn't see it. But yeah, so that's why I think, and the key thing, like I keep telling people, don't take your brisket out of the smoker and just throw it in the cooler, because that brisket gonna shoot up to 225, 230.
Right. Keep cooking.
It gonna keep cooking, man. Just like it cool the ice down, it warms the stuff up. Because all that heat is doing this. Bing, 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 bing. Bounce this, and then you got an aluminum foil like that, and then you got a towel around it. That heat ain't going nowhere in that cooler. That's like a Cambro. That's why when people take the brisket out of the cooler, they can't hardly touch it. Because it's still 200 some degrees. They're like, oh, this is hot. And I had it in for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
Okay, the last thing is so you when you said the seasoning, so all I need is to the night before do kosher salt, and then 30 minutes before I put it on Uncle Steve's cow powder, and that's it. No, I don't need to
That's
add no
it.
pepper, no nothing else.
That's it.
Okay.
Stick a fork in it. And you don't have to go heavy on the fat side with salt, because salt, all it's gonna do is just sit on that fat. It ain't gonna do nothing. You don't
Gotcha.
want to go too heavy. Just around the meat, side around the sides, and what that do is that gonna season that thing down to the bone, and you gonna see how red your brisket gonna look. It gonna look like not table salt, kosher salt.
Right,
And if you
right.
can find some diamond crystal, use that.
I saw you using it, so I just went and got some.
Yes, that's the best
Hmm.
kosher salt in the world, diamond crystal. Man, the other salt, man, it's just too Morton's. I use
Yeah, that's
Morton's
what
because
I
I
have
didn't know
been
no
using.
better. I didn't
Hmm.
know no better. But Morton's, that joker boy, you can't go 50-50. You do a
Right,
50-50
right, right, right,
Dalmatian rub, you're gonna be messed up.
right. Yep.
But if
Yeah,
you
I
do
do. I
50-50,
did. I scaled mine back actually. But
yes.
like like everything, you got to do it to your taste. So you listen to what
Yep.
people say, you try it, and then you say, okay, maybe I need to tweak it for something that works for
Yes.
me.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
But
I
I,
hope
I appreciate you, T.
let
I
me know how
appreciate
it
you, man.
turns out, man. Please do.
Okay, I will. I will keep doing your thing, man, and keep giving good advice. I'll holler at you.
All right. God bless, bro. Bye bye.
Same to you.
Yeah. That's my brother from Old Town. Old Town coming to your town. Man, that's awesome, man. Yes, yes. I got my boy Uncle Steve Shake killing it. Uh it's called Uncle Steve Shake. Yes, it is. And it's called Competition Cow Powder. Go get yourself some. Get some. So yeah, so that's what we're working with right now. Thank you, Terry, for posting that. I appreciate that. OP, I hope you get that down. Go order you some. Tell him TNT sent you over there. Uncle Steve's a great guy, and get some of that competition cow powder, and get some of that lucky cow off the chain. Lucky cow, lucky cow, lucky cow. And while you're there, get you some meat frosting too. Go over there, check out my boy Meat Stall. Find some meat and smoke it. Can you put that up for me, Mr. Terry? Some of that meat frosting, meat stall, please. Can you put it up for me, Terry? I really appreciate it, brother, if you do that. But yeah, guys, so I hope I'm answering everybody questions about brisket. Cause I'm telling you, man, it's exciting to talk about something that you're so passionate about, and that's barbecue. So right there, I got a link right there if you want to jump on. Let me know what's going on. I appreciate it. Ain't it? Can I get an amen, Brother Jane? Can I get an amen, Brother Jane? It's off the cheesing. Yes, yes, it is. Uncle Steve Shake, Competition Cow Power, and a Lucky Shake. I like the Lucky Shake. Lucky, lucky, lucky. James, if you ain't doing nothing, jump on, James. Jump on, Brother James, if you ain't doing nothing. Jump on, Brother James. Y'all, brother, I learned so much from this boy, Brother James. Brother James, my guy, man. Love that guy, man. I called him in church one day. Hey, man, how you cook barbacoa? How you cook beef cheese? He was like, well, T, I'm in church, but why I got you on the phone? Why I got you on the phone? This is what you do. So, yeah, I love my guys, man. I love them, man. You ain't miss me. You ain't miss me. You didn't miss me. I'm right here. You didn't miss me. I'm still here. I'm still here. There you go right there. Meat stall. Find some meat and sauce it. So this is my boy Meat Stall with the meat frosting, man. Him and Uncle Steve have combined to help me out with this barbecue event, man. And I really appreciate it. Y'all, look, I'm gonna introduce to y'all If you ain't subscribe to this man right here, the living legend of barbecue, the one that's throwing it down in your town, don't come to Owine, James. Stay your hand away from me, because he ain't coming to taking my customer. I'm just playing. I love you, Brother James. Hey, here's the one and only Brother James. Get it.
What's going on, Brother Thyron, man? How's it going?
Man, nothing going down but the sun. That's about it, bro.
I hear you, man. Yeah, I'm just hanging out, getting ready for a comp this weekend. Thought I'd check out what's going on YouTube tonight since I'm banned on Facebook right now.
What?
Yeah, you leave some stupid comments, playing around with your friends, and then Facebook don't know that you're just joking around, and then end up banning you for a certain period of time. So right now I'm banned, but
Time out.
yeah, time out. There you go. Yeah, so let me hop on YouTube and see who's on, and Brother Thyron is on. So thought I'd hop on real quick.
Okay, James. Question asked you, James. Okay, you get down with those barrel cookers, right?
Yes, sir.
James ride dirty with the barrel cookers, guys. He about that life when it comes to double barrels. And how many barrel cookers do you have, James?
Well, I've got 1, 2, 3 race crew drum smokers. So 3, I guess what you would normally call a ugly drum smoker. Your 55 gallon, but I mean, if you count the Weber Smoky Mountains, which are basically the same thing.
Yeah, we count them.
Yeah, if you count those, I've got 1, 2, 3, 6 of them. That's just the Weber Smoky Mountains. That's not counting my my drums. So that's another 9. So 9 total.
Okay, so can you tell me some pros and cons about? I got to ask a question. What do I think about? Hey, what up, my food truck brothers and sisters? How you doing out there in Florida? So, could you tell us a little bit about the pros and cons of them drum smokers, James?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I would say I'm gonna start with the cons. The cons is that you can cook a ton on them. So on a drum smoker, I can cook roughly 1, 2, 3, maybe if we're talking about briskets, I could cook probably 4 briskets on one drum.
Okay.
Compared to let's say a big offset, of course you could cook some more on that, but and even my Weber Smoky Mountains, I'm cooking 4 good size briskets on one. So the downside, and I don't even know that that's really a downside, because I mean, if you're smoking 4 briskets at one time, that's still quite a bit of meat.
Yes, it
right?
is.
So
yes.
So the downside, which is very minimal, is that you can't cook a ton compared to like some of your pits, where you could just load them up with hundreds of pounds of meat. Obviously, you can't do that with the drum, right?
Okay.
The positive is, one, they run very consistently, so you can keep a very consistent temp. 2, you could do hot and fast, so you're getting them done. If I'm cooking a brisket, I'm getting it done in. I mean, if depending on how I trim it, if it's a comp brisket, it's done in 6 hours. If it's a non-comp brisket, I'm getting done in 8 hours. So, and I'm not having to tend to the fire every hour like you would an offset. So if I take my drum, or if I take a Weber Smoky Mountain, set my charcoal basket up, light it the way that I light it, that thing will run a consistent temp, 275, both of them, whether it's a Weber Smoky Mountain or one of my drums, will run 275, and I don't have to touch a thing. and I know that I could get a good 10 hours out of either one of those easily before I even have to even think about adding maybe a little extra charcoal or anything like that. So the benefit is that they're very consistent cooks. They're a set it and forget it type of cooker. You know, you don't have to tend to it all night like you would an offset. So, you know, I always recommend, you know, folks that if you're not doing a whole lot of catering, if you're just kind of cooking for like you and your family, or maybe you and your family and some friends, I think a Weber Smoky Mountain or Ugly Drum Smoker or a drum smoker is the way to go. Very efficient, you know, use very little fuel, but still get a very consistent cook out of them. What's going on, Brother Steve? Uncle Steve's in the house.
Yes, he is. Uncle Steve, the legend, the
Yes.
myth, the one and only.
The man, the myth, the legend, the geeter with the heater, the boss with the hot sauce.
Woo!
Uncle Steve Shakes.
Stick a fork in him. He's done. That's my boy. That's my dude.
I'll be seeing him in February
Okay.
down in Houston.
The rodeo?
Yes, sir.
Mm.
Yes.
Man, that's outstanding. But
Yeah.
so how do they clean those drum smokers, James?
You know, the cleaning is actually very easy, man. At least the ones that I have, you know, they have an ash pan at the bottom. So I have a hook. You have your charcoal basket. I just pull my charcoal basket out with my hook. I pull the ash pan out from the bottom, dump it in, dump all that in the trash, and then just slide it right back in. I mean, the cleanup is so easy. The most work really just comes from cleaning my grates.
Okay.
You know, so like if I'm using the one for my brisket, you know, you get some like little stuff cooked onto your grates. You got to go and scrape it. That's the hardest part, you know, which really isn't that hard at all.
I lied, guys. I'm sorry. I told them cleaning them drum smokers was horrible.
No, not. I mean, it would depend if you know if you didn't have an ash pan in the bottom, yeah, because then you got to pull your basket out, then you got to which if you didn't have an ash pan, it would have all the ashes on the bottom. Then you got to dump that out and try to spray it out or something. So it could be, but it just depends on what kind of setup you have in your drum. Okay. So for me, I have a big old ash pan on the bottom. I have my charcoal basket that sits on the ash pan. So it's easy for me to just pull my charcoal basket out, pull my ash pan out, dump it out, put it back in, and it's good to go. So it could be a hassle, but again, it just comes down to how you have yours set up. And the way that I have mine set up, it makes it very easy.
Okay, then. There was Uncle Steve in the house. Boy, I tell you what.
Yeah, Texas, so we get you to come.
Oh, man. I wouldn't mind flying out there chilling with y'all guys.
It would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome, man. Next year, I'm not going to be doing all this cooking like I'm doing this year. It's just been, you know, it's been crazy. I thank God for it. Like, for instance, I'm booked for every weekend in June already. And then on top of that, I got weddings in the whole month of September already booked. Those 2 months are booked already.
So one thing I was wondering is, are you doing this? All of this cooking is, obviously I follow you, right?
Yeah.
Everywhere. So I see all the cooking that you're doing. Are you doing just this, or are you still doing your normal 9 to 5, working for the
Sheriff office?
yeah.
I'm 9 to 5, bro. I'm 9 to 5. I'm on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's by the grace of God I'm getting it done.
Yeah. So
Last week.
that's a lot of work, man. I mean,
Yes.
and
I just went through inspections. The state of Iowa, we got the Iowa Code inspections. They come in, they check your records, they check everything. I mean, Iowa's tough. And I done scored, I mean, it's not like 100%, but I haven't had a gig in 8 years. I haven't had for the inspector to say, Mr. Matthews, Administrator Matthews, need to work on this, need to work on that, need to work on this. I have a great group of officers. We take pride in what we do, and I treat people, and people want to work for the sheriff I work for, and I'm a representation of them since I'm his administrator, so they want to work for me too. And so it makes my job easier. And plus, for fights and things of that nature, I probably have 2 fights a year. But before I took over, we averaged 65 fights a year. But it all goes to the glory of God. And then second, it goes to treating people like you want to be treated. I mean, staff, inmates, everybody. If you treat the public, treat everybody good, you get good back. So that allows me to do this type of stuff when I'm doing. And that's like this weekend. I had a big cook for East Penn. I cooked 25 pork butts. I cooked over 200 pounds of chicken breast. Then I turned around and do 2 weddings. I did on Saturday. We did 2 weddings on Saturday. We cooked well over 1,000 some pounds of meat.
Wow.
Between I think it's Wednesday night till Saturday, we cooked over 1,000 some pounds of food. But it was looking back, it wasn't easy, but it wasn't hard neither though, because I thank God that He always blessed me with the equipment that I can do that type stuff.
Yeah.
So when I was working, that Green Mountain was cooking my pork butts.
Right.
And then when I got the pork butts off, I put them in my proofer, and I'm able to shove like golly amount of food in those warmers. And the warmers go up to 225 degrees I got. So if the pork butts ain't tender, I can hit them at 225 and finish them off. But I don't have to do that. But, I keep it at 165, the pork butts. The chicken, I got the chicken on. I got it pulled, chopped up. I put them in my other warmer, my big proofer I got, and kept that at 165. And then I had to go to every shift. I had to go a third shift, a second shift, and a first shift. And we did that. We have, but I pay a lot of labor. So, for instance, I got this shelter that helps me out. And it's people, it's men, it's a men's, it's not a shelter. I guess it's a rehabilitation center. And they help me out a lot. Like they clean my roasters, they clean my trailer, they do all that type of stuff. They clean my smokers, and I pay them like somebody. So they love coming to work for me. And plus they don't get leftovers. I just feel so bad because I can't do that because I feel like it's not intentional giving. Intentional giving is for me cooking them something. So I always throw extra food on for them. So they know when they come there, they're going to get that bomb.com.
Right. They're going to eat good.
Yeah. So it's a team effort. And plus, I got my VIP, my wife. She has sacrificed so much. So I could, like, you can probably do the same thing I'm saying. The wife sacrificed so much.
Absolutely, man.
That we can pursue our dreams of this barbecue game.
Yeah.
So my wife, she want to do stuff. She want to do this. And I'm thinking about it, make me want to cry because it's like we didn't really do nothing this whole year. And I
No.
remember having the money, not having the money to do stuff, and I always had stuff to do. Now I
Yeah.
got money, and just don't got time.
Yeah. I'm with you, man. Like I couldn't do, you know, most of what I do if it wasn't for my wife. And the help that she sacrifices, or the sacrifices that she makes to help me out. Anytime I got a catering gig or something, she's there to help me out with whatever I need, and
Yes.
so I'm with you on that.
Yes.
We definitely can do with those around us. I mean, we don't have the kids, but you got your kids, I'm sure, who could probably help. If you needed something,
Mm-hmm.
but to have our wives to be able to help us with whatever we need. I mean, and I'll tell you, like this past weekend, I had a catering gig, and
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, my wife wasn't able to help me with that because she's just going back into the office, and after being out of after working home for over a year and a half, because of the whole
Mm-hmm.
COVID thing. So to see what I do with her, to see what I do without her, it's it's like night and day, man. So
Yes.
I totally understand what you're talking about when you say that, to have your wife there to help you out. I mean, I was literally, dude. This past weekend I had a gig, and I had meat on the grill outside. I've got meat inside that I'm trying to chop up. I've got beans that I'm making on the stove. I'm cooking quesadillas, and I'm literally like going from here, and the whole time I'm like, there was literally a time when I stopped for a second and was just like, fuck, excuse the language, but I was just like, fuck, because I didn't think I was gonna get it done in time. Luckily, the customer was understanding because I did deliver it a little late, but it was just me. I had to make 2 different meats for tacos, street tacos, quesadillas, rice and beans. I mean, just salsas, all kinds of stuff, and it was just me. So to have that help, to have your wife helping you, man, I totally get it and totally appreciate how much that means, how much that actually helps out. So yeah, man, your wife, I'm sure it's just awesome.
Amen.
When it comes to that.
And the thing about it though, James, is I share with people like this, okay? I told people, I say, my fences, my brisket game. When I was out that catering game, I was selling briskets, man. I was cooking them on the grill, like, and then no trimming, out of the season them up, throwing them on the smoker, letting them get color, and putting them in a roaster pan, and then slicing them while they're in the roaster pan, James.
Yeah.
Seriously, like slicing them while they're. Hey, I'm not exaggerating, bro. And when I start messing with my YouTube brothers and sisters, what's up, Kirby? How you doing, brother Kirby?
Hey, Kirby Q, it's been a while. What's going on, brother Kirby?
What's up, Kirby, the legend, the competition legend? But when I start messing with all my YouTube guys like Kirby, all y'all, you James, Joe, all y'all.
I see Brother Joe's on here.
Brother Joe, man, I'm telling you what, man. If y'all pay for that class, or what is it called? What's the class called? Master class?
The master class Franklin's.
Man, you need to put a super chat in here with Joe Aim claim them, all these guys. This is how I elevated my game to brisket, bro. I'm telling you, my game was boo boo. It was boo boo, man. I'm telling you, bro. And that's why I say you got to, when you look at YouTube channels, if you look at it for entertainment, that's all good. But when you look at these YouTube things, I look at it so I can take in what you're offering. So my thing is, if you look at them just to critique you or they need to go to something else because they ain't gonna learn. If they come in to learn, they're gonna have to learn something. I'm telling you, if they don't learn that, they just can't learn.
There's a lot of people that put out a lot of good stuff that
Yes.
You actually don't have to pay for. In fact, man, and you know, I've mentioned this multiple times, but I have taken a ton of crap from people because of the information that I have put out, share the information that I've shared with folks. Look at Uncle Steve coming in big.
Oh my goodness,
Uncle Steve is awesome.
Thank you, Uncle Steve. You didn't have to, brother.
Yeah, Uncle Steve is awesome, man. I can.
Oh.
You guys, if you haven't tried the Uncle Steve shakes, he's got tons of them. I don't know what the hell you're waiting for, but you need to go get some all of his rubs because they're freaking awesome. Not only that, but you're helping to support an individual who is just an amazing dude. Uncle Steve is an amazing dude who helps out a lot of freaking organizations. Like if you call them, I know personally when I call them and say, hey, I need some stuff for a benefit that we're doing for a fundraiser, you know, or you know, can you donate stuff? Without question, yes, it's there. So you're anytime you buy Uncle Steve stuff, not only are you supporting him, but you're helping him to help other people when it comes to benefits, stuff like that. He's always without hesitation willing to say, I'm in. Yes. Let me know what you need. I'm there. I did a cook-off for some police officers that were killed in the line of duty a while back, and he was like, let me know what you need. I'm there. So you guys go to that Uncle Steve's website, get you some stuff. His rubs I'm gonna tell you, my favorite rub is his sweet and spicier, personally. But he's got his beef rubs are great. His competition pork, beef, chicken, I think it's competition bird. They're all great, but you're helping to support a really, really great individual who turns around and gives back to the community without hesitation. And that's what I absolutely love about Uncle Steve, and will support him and you know, anything I could do to help him out, because I've seen what he has done personally for me and other folks. He's just an awesome dude. So make sure you guys go to the website, order some rubs, help him. In turn, that's going to help other folks out.
But my whole thing about Uncle Steve too is all that is just extra bonuses. But it's rubs at bomb.com. Let me, you know what I'm saying? It's not wrong with being a good person. But if you was boo boo, I wouldn't be up here putting on my.
No, I agree. I agree.
If it was boo boo, I wouldn't be. I would not be like out here like Uncle Steve this, Uncle Steve that. Same thing with my boy Rick from the meat stall. If it wasn't what it was, I wouldn't be out here hollering at it because I'm putting that stuff in my food, man. I'm selling out my food truck.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm out there. I'm slanging it. I'm slanging that competition cow paddle. I'm slanging those briskets, baby.
No, yeah, I 100% agree, brother. While I keep pushing, how great of an individual he is, his products are freaking phenomenal.
Yes. So, hey, I know a lot of nice people
Look,
that
look, I got his damn hat. Look at this hat right here.
Hey,
I
got his shirt, but it's just dirty.
A shirt. I don't have a shirt. I'd be wearing a shirt if I had it. I don't have a
t-shirt. I got a t-shirt.
No.
I got a hat too, but my wife takes over my hat, so Yeah. But
I don't have, but I got the hat, and I'll be sporting this weekend in my cook-off.
Let me tell you the story about Uncle Steve. So I was I'm still on the chat. It's called like Hot Seat for Survivors. And I always tell people about, this shake. Dad Dutch was talking about this shake, and then Dad Dutch approved. So I got there, I tried to order it, and it wouldn't let me order it. So I just picked up the phone and called him. I said, hey, you Uncle Steve? He's like, yeah. And then I was talking to him, like, yeah, I got a YouTube channel. I want to order your shakes. He was like, okay. He was like, what's your name? I'm like, Thyron. He was like, oh, you're TNT barbecue agent. He said, I haven't sent anything out to you yet. I'm like, no, but I don't expect you to. He was like, you just keep your money. Like first hit is for free. The first hit is for free. and when I got it, man, I thought everything was amazing. But I did that competition cow paddle on some beef ribs, and it was a game changer, man. Oh man. And actually, we're doing my sheriff put on a fundraiser, not a fundraiser, excuse me, but it's a appreciation supper for all the first responders and their families in the whole county. So we're feeding 500 to 600 people here on the 28th. And I'll be using the barbecue sauce meat frosting. He sent me 5 gallons. And then I'll be using Uncle Steve's shake for the brisket and also the loins. Cause see, that lucky cow, it go good on pork loins.
Yeah.
That lucky cow go good on pork loins. But I'm working on a video, Uncle Steve, that I'm coming out with. It's finna shock the world. It's gonna shock the world with me and my new camera if I can ever learn how to use it.
Teflon. Excuse me. Teflon Down says, y'all got Uncle Steve y'all got Uncle Steve blushing. I'm ordering some as soon as this ends. Hey, you need to, Teflon Don.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Teflon Don.
Teflon, there you go.
Untouchable Teflon Don.
Yeah, there really are freaking amazing products. In fact, I've got I don't want to put it out just yet, but I've got a cook coming up with someone coming in from out of town, and we're definitely going to be using some of those Uncle Steve shakes on that in that cook-off that we're doing, or that cook that we're doing.
Wow.
So I don't want to put that out just yet.
Oh, man. I can't wait till next year to start visiting people. I got my cousin own a Houston. Are you close to Houston, James?
I'm about 3 hours from there.
Okay. My cousin own a barbecue company in Houston. And he actually went to Uncle Steve's house because he called me. He was like, hey, man, blah, blah. And I was like, man, look, I was a big baller. I was like, look, man, I'm going to call my guy and get you some brisket, get you some barbecue, get you some rubs and some seasonings so you can have some rubs and seasonings, man. And he was like, he was probably like, man, what the hell, whatever. I called up Uncle Steve, put him on 3-way call. The next hour or so, he's pulling up at Uncle Steve's house.
Wow.
Getting rubs and shakes and things of that nature, man. I'm telling you what, man, God is so good, man.
Yes, he is. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's out there. He's doing it big in Texas. He's a very successful car salesman. You know, he sells Audis and things of that nature. But he's in the barbecue game because his mom and dad is in the barbecue game, and he has a very nice concession trailer, and he got it hooked up, man. So, but if y'all see a concession trailer in Texas and it's for sale, please let me know, James. Please let me know. I will come and get it because I'm supposed to be having a brand new trailer, and they just not building it fast enough. They haven't started yet on it because, and I'm kind of scared that it ain't gonna never happen. So I need to buy another concession trailer. So if you see one, just hook me up on a link, and I'll be coming.
Oh, I know of a couple that are up for sale. They're more on the competition side, though. Unfortunately, where they don't. I mean, you can modify it, you know, to fit your needs.
Yeah,
but
I want it big. As long as it's big, I need it big and juicy.
Yeah. So there's a post. I'll try to. Well, I'm freaking banned from Facebook right now for 3 days, so I can't tag you with it for at least 3 days.
Hey, I like to hear that 805.
805
Barbecue junkie.
I'm going to order all of your shakes. Thank you, Mo. Yes, 805 Barbecue Junkie. Please do so. I'm telling you, man. I've got a shakes right over here, and they're freaking phenomenal.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I am super jealous of his name, Barbecue Junkie. Damn it! What a cool name.
Yeah. So not only will you be getting phenomenal products, but you'll be helping out someone who is not only a super cool dude, but is someone who is willing, without hesitation, in an instant, to help anybody out that contacts him and ask for some help, or like some products that doing like a benefit for a funeral or something like that. Uncle Steve has never ever been anyone to say, well, I don't know, let me think about it. Nope. He's like, what do you need? It's on the way.
Amen.
So, yeah.
Yes. Hey.
So 805 Junkie, or 805 Barbecue Junkie says, wait a minute, who was asking? No, Dwayne's Sheets is asking, is there a website for Uncle Steve? Yeah, I think Brother Steven posted it earlier.
Right now.
There it is. Madwood posted it right there.
Whoop, there it is right now.
There it is, yes.
Whoop, there it is. Hit me. And like I said again, I can talk in his face and behind his back. It's good. Yeah. It's good being a good person, but it's even better when you're a good person with a good product. Because let me tell you something about me, James. I ain't lying to people. I'm serious, James. Ever since I got food poisoning for lying to people and being a good guy, this was in 2002. I'm being a good guy. An old lady pulled out a can of spaghetti. Well, she jarred the spaghetti sauce up. She poured it over some noodles. And she said, boy, come get some of this food. And we was at a church convention, and I didn't want to offend the old lady. And I ate that spaghetti, and it tasted funny. But I wanted to be nice.
Right.
20 different embarrassing moments. I can't tell the story, but 20 different embarrassing moments. You don't want food poisoning. Put it like this. You don't want food poisoning. 20 embarrassing moments in the ER, begging Jesus to take the wheel. And that's when I decided then, before I put something in my mouth, I will tell the truth. I will not. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm a critic. If anybody know me, if anybody out there that knows me, my Uncle said to tell you, he hates going to the restaurants with me because if the food is garbage, I'm not gonna be ignorant. But the truth is the truth. If I'm paying good money, man, I hate spending my money and just getting disappointment. I done spent my money so many times at so many barbecue restaurants, and get disappointed, man. And it's amazing. I think I'm ignorant because nobody should be doing this stuff like I'm doing. But I be having hopes up and get disappointed. My wife will tell you. So with that being said, I ain't no prostitute. I ain't gonna say no pipe dream. This man got the guarantee A1 Rico good barbecue rub shake Steve shake. I just had to give you that. I just had to give you that rundown.
It's good stuff, man. So he was one of our sponsors for the American Royal.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, and so he sent out a bunch of rubs to us, and so we had this table set up, just like stacked pile, like high of all his rubs to give out, and man, in no time, I turn around, I'm like, where'd all the rubs go? And so the guys that were with me were like, no, people took them. So we did a lot of cooking while we were out there, and everything that we cooked, we used Uncle Steve's stuff. So we gave out samples to folks, and so they were able to taste it, and they would come back and take some of the rubs. So we got rid of everything they sent us. I mean, so I there's just people that are gonna be all over the U.S. I'm sure who took those rubs, who are gonna taste them and be like, wow, this is really good.
Oh, I picked the right thing to steal. You know what they're gonna say. So this guy right here said Big Lee's ribs in Old Keller, Florida aren't good at all. Man, I disagree with you. Big Lee's barbecue, you probably seen him on Facebook, Smoking Meat Low and Soul Jane. He the guy that always had the juicy briskets and stuff. Rashad Jones. Rashad, you see him. But it's that man can cook. I don't know. I really thought his food was amazing. So I'm sorry. Maybe you had a bad experience, brother. Don. So but I thought it was pretty good. And barbecue can be objected. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm such a gentleman. I agreed. I ordered it and never paid. I remembered a few weeks back, as the summer came to an end, and I called him, said apologize, and he was so calm, like no problem, great dude. Yeah, so that just
I mean that just sums it up right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean that's Steve. He's not going to be someone who's going to be like, you owe me. I mean, it's just another opportunity for him to get his product out. Yeah. Again, which are freaking phenomenal products.
You're right. So, can I bring something up, James?
Yeah. So, what's up?
This gentleman brought right here, Big Lee's, Old Keller, Florida, aren't good at all. And then he says, right here, he says, maybe I got a bad batch. I was disappointed. Now, I want to preach on something for a second, James. You can amen me. Can you be my amener, James? Can you back me up a little bit?
Amen. Preach it.
A little bit, Brother James?
Let's do it.
So, listen, barbecue, and this is why I try to tell my kids, and this is why I try to tell everybody out there on that pit master, they call themselves pit master or barbecue, whatever they want to call themselves. You're only better than your last meal you serve. So you got to serve your last meal like it's James from Aiming and Claiming Smoker or Joe or Kirby out there waiting on you to get some food, because you cannot pull barbecue out of a steam pan and serve the people when it's not right. You got to throw that stuff away. or you know what I'm saying? You can you have to lose that money because right here, this guy said he went to Big Lee's and maybe he was having a bad day. CJ, I can't afford to have a bad day, brother James, because I don't have the big advertisement and all that kind of stuff. The only thing I got is Facebook and a TikTok, and I ain't got that many followers on that, and a little YouTube account. I have to try to be excellent every single day. So in a point where I don't want to get bigger because if I got other people cooking my food besides Uncle Said, I cannot say that it's TNT approved because, man, I will be so disappointed if somebody say T had a bad day. I mean, that hurt me to my heart, Brother James. You know, if I'm having a bad day, I promise you, James, I done threw away 70 slabs of ribs. James, if I'm lying, I'm fine. 70 slabs of ribs, I threw them in the garbage. Lord is my witness. I done threw away big batches of beef ribs that I cooked with hickory, and I didn't understand how hickory cooked because somebody just gave me free wood one time, and I didn't understand how the hickory cooked, and it had the ribs tasting like soap, and I was able to sell them, but I wouldn't sell them because of what this guy is saying. We have to understand that we're only better than our last plate we served or the last piece of barbecue we cut on. So we have to understand when we cutting ribs and that last bone of rib that we cut, the little V shape, you know, the bone that dries out sometimes, we have to ask ourselves, is this worth my reputation? Is this worth my reputation, or should I grab a slab of ribs and cut them? So I'm saying this right here. When you're out there cooking and people ask me, why you trim your briskets like that? Why you do this like that? Why you do that like that? Because I want to make sure that I can take that how can I say it? I want to make sure that I put out the best product. And the only way I can make sure I put out the best product is making sure that the start of the product is the best. And the end result is the best. So, and the only way I can do that is to be there. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I'm fine where I'm at because I don't want to get no bigger because I feel like if I get bigger, then I can't do what I'm doing, and that's the quality control.
You can't keep this. You don't have the same control over the quality that you do if you just have one location, if you will.
Amen.
So this is the I guess the downside, if you will, to barbecuing, is that it is very tough to first off, if we're just talking about one location, for an example, or one restaurant, it's very tough to produce the exact same quality every single day.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to run into you're going to have some days where maybe the quality isn't as good as it was 2 days ago. And I think this is the reason why a lot of the barbecue restaurants, at least where I'm at here in Texas, they're only open Thursday through Sunday. They're not open, every single day of the week for that reason. There are some that are open, 7 days a week, but in barbecue, it's really, really tough to be extremely consistent every single time. It's not like cooking a burger. If you cook a burger and you overcook it, you can throw another patty on there and make another burger. You can't do that with a brisket. You can't hurry up and make a new brisket. So this is why, like, when I go to a lot of restaurants, sometimes it's really, really good, And sometimes, it's not as great as it was the last time I was here, but I go into it knowing that um, it's really tough to be extremely consistent every single day. And so when you go into or anybody goes into a barbecue restaurant, I think that's something you got to keep in mind that, yeah, they might, today might have been a great day. The next time I've gone, it might not have been as great, but you know what? I'm going to come back because I've seen what they're capable of doing. I understand the difficulties that it takes to be as consistent. Uh, and so, as a barbecue restaurant owner, uh, that's something that we have to figure out. Okay, am I going to be okay with this? Am I going to be now? I'm going to strive to be extremely consistent and put the best product out possible. But hell, there are Mexican restaurants that I go to, and their food isn't as good. If I went today, it isn't as good as it was last week. So it isn't just barbecue. It's being a business owner. Period.
Yeah.
Sometimes it might not be as great this time, but I wouldn't just give up on it completely and say, oh, what, this experience was horrible. I'm never going back. You have to go into it, I think, with an open mind that tells you that it's extremely difficult to be consistent perfectly every single time. Um, so when I'm going to a restaurant, you know what? It wasn't as good this week. It wasn't as good this time, but I've been here before and it's been great before. So I'm going to keep coming back. I mean, I understand what they go through, the difficulties that they have to deal with. It is a tough business, whether it's a barbecue restaurant, a Mexican restaurant, you name it, any restaurant. It's going to be difficult to be the exact same consistency every time, unless you're talking about somebody like McDonald's, who was a chain restaurant who tells you have to do it this way.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go and one time it's a good experience, the next time it's a bad experience, don't give up on them.
Okay.
Keep supporting them. Keep doing what you're doing as a cook, as an owner. You, Thyron, I understand sometimes because even when I'm doing my catering, I'm going to be honest, man. Sometimes my catering isn't the best. Every time. This past weekend when I did this catering gig, I don't think it was one of my best. My customers loved it. They freaking way overpaid me because they loved it. But as a business owner like you, who is doing this more consistently, put out the product that you put out. Folks know that you put out a great product. They'll understand. Okay, maybe today wasn't as great as last week when I was here, but they know that you're busting your butt to put out the best product possible, and they're going to keep coming back.
Okay, and you said a lot, James, that make me understand. I'm talking about the when you go to a restaurant and it's the east from the west and bad. If that makes sense, like okay, maybe my ribs were overcooked this time, or maybe they was a little tight this time, but they're freaking phenomenal. They're gonna have the color. They're gonna have what I need. I'm talking some when you go there and it's just horrific, not even edible. Sometimes I think that people lead people to do things, and they're trying to pay people to do something that they have no experience doing. Like a prime example, I went to a restaurant, very expensive. A slab of ribs was $38. I ordered a slab of ribs. I spent $70 in Memphis, Tennessee, at a restaurant. I can't call no names. That was supposed to be the best of the best in Memphis, okay? And I spent this money in Memphis, James. And I got to my buddy's house, and I sat down, and I thought beef ribs, pork ribs, brisket, I had everything. And I could not eat the food, James. It wasn't palatable. I mean, honest to goodness, it was east from the west bad. And I'm not trying to be like a food snob. It was just horrible. And I went to another Memphis restaurant, and it was better than that. But the point I'm trying to say is, I can understand having like what you say. That's different, but you're not gonna find an east from a west difference. And still, because it's too much money. Because barbecue is not cheap. If you go to a barbecue place, James, and I said, Jane, let's go. It's on me. I can see myself spending $300 at a barbecue place in Texas.
Well, right.
And the reason why I'm saying this is that you go there and you're looking not to be blown out, but you're looking to be full, and you're looking to experience this barbecue thing. Because you are chasing a pipe dream.
Yeah. So right. So I would say, so if those of you that follow my YouTube channel, that I posted a video a couple weeks ago when I went to the American Royal that we did a barbecue crawl. Mm-hmm. Right. So we went to a couple of restaurants, a couple of barbecue restaurants. The second one that we went to, that thing was just so bad that everything that I ate or everything that I tasted, I couldn't even eat, down to the pickle.
Not the pickle.
Watch my video. Watch my video. Down to the pickle. Right? I mean, I bit the pickle, and I just had to spit the pickle. I had to spit the pickle out. So yeah, I mean, there are some cases where, or some instances where the restaurant is just bad, and I think that's in that same video, the second one that we went to, if I went back there again, I would have that same experience where everything was just horrible. So yeah, there are some restaurants like that no matter how many times you go, it's going to be the same. It's going to be bad every time. But what I'm talking about is, I want to encourage folks that if they go to a place, right?
Amen. Yeah.
And they try it and it's really good, maybe they come back. You put the pickle. Watch my video. Watch my video. But what I'm talking about is if you go to a place and let's say the first time you have a good experience, you come back a second time. The second time isn't maybe as great as the first time. Don't give up on it just yet. Come back a third time. Or if you go and the first time, your first experience, yeah, there you go. So yeah, I saw your video. When did you throw up? John, I did go to the bathroom to throw up. that was not on video. But I did go to the bathroom to throw up. But I mean, there's a difference between visiting a place that hey, come down. I'm sorry, hold on. Hey, get off. Get off, my damn dog. Hey, come down. There is a difference between going to a place that just makes bad barbecue, right? But there's also a difference between going to like a mom and pop, like you know, Thyron and your wife, your family, giving you a try, and then maybe someone comes to your place and has like the first time is great, the second time, you know, it wasn't as great as the first time. I'm simply saying don't give up on someone like Thyron who you know, who, I don't know, maybe someone's second time around wasn't as great. I mean, there's a lot of variance that goes into it, but there are certain restaurants like the ones that we went to in my video where no matter, I could go there 10 out of 10 times, and I think without hesitation, I know I'm going to have the exact same experience.
Yes.
Right. So there's a difference between a restaurant like that, who is a big, like a big time restaurant, a well-known restaurant, compared to someone like you who does what you do.
Yes.
There's a difference there. So
yes.
I agree. You could go to a place and it's just bad, no matter how many times you go there. But you know, if you go to, you know, one of these smaller places, a mom and pop place, and maybe the second time around it isn't as bad, I would say don't give up on them.
Amen.
Give them another shot. But I do realize that there are going to be places I could go there 10 out of 10 times and it's going to be shit every time.
Yeah. And that's that's one of the reasons why I use Uncle Steve's shake right now. Because I want to take out my variables out of my barbecue. That makes sense. Yeah. So that's why for my brisket and for some meats, I try to stick with commercial rubs that I can have, and Uncle Steve rubs are very affordable. Very affordable. You know what I'm saying? So I guess you're right, James. You know, I was having.
You're a smaller business compared to a chain.
Oh yes.
So you know, you're able to make changes, to adjust your flavors a little bit compared to a lot of these chains. So
yes.
I mean, there's definitely a difference between, you know, going to someone like you compared to going to one of the restaurants that you saw in my video, you know. So and that, I think people know that. I think they know. They go to like I don't remember the name of the restaurant, the second one they went to. But if they go to a place like that, and then they go to a place like you, or even if I had my own place, come to me, that they would judge it on a little different scale.
Amen. Right. If I mess up, I'm gonna spank my butt. But yeah, so I really appreciate it, Jane, because that does bring a insight to that, and thank you, because now I have had those days. But even though my customers say it was outstanding, in my heart, I knew I was off that day.
No, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I understand what you're saying with that. In my heart, I'm like, oh man, that's like, for example, when I did an ESPN cook, I cooked the best brisket of my life. That ESPN cook. I never cooked brisket that good before. But my loin, I think I cooked one of the worst loins ever cooked in my life. But everybody was like, the loin is amazing. What kind of meat this is? It's amazing. And I'm thinking like, man, I'm about to throw that Smoke away, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this post, talk to my wife like, man, I'm gonna throw this crap away, honey. I'm not even taking it. I'm just gonna take it off their bill, you know?
No, right. That was me this weekend because they wanted some al pastor tacos for the catering gig that I
Yeah.
did, and in my opinion, I thought that they were really dry and overcooked. But man, this dude he's messaged me 4 different times saying how amazing it was. You
Wow.
know, so I think us as cooks, we're harder on ourselves
Amen.
than we probably should be. Because other people that are eating the stuff, like I said, in fact, he just texted me the guy that I cooked for this past weekend. He just texted me last night and paid me more money. First off, he paid me twice as much as we agreed on, right?
Yes.
And then he paid me just last night. Just last night, he paid me more money
Wow.
On top of that, because he was just so blown away with how great it was. And here I'm thinking, man, I was not happy with that.
Yeah.
So
now,
I think we're harder on ourselves than we probably should be.
Yeah. But now, James, he's gonna be on a pipe dream for the rest of his life.
Oh, he's already posted on Facebook telling people, "Hey, you need catering? Contact James."
That's what I'm trying to say. And I'm gonna tell the story, James. And I got to probably get off here. I haven't ate yet, but
Me neither.
This is a story right here. In 2004, I used to cook a lot of beef ribs. That's all I used to cook. Cause I had a butcher that served beef ribs. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree, Brother Kirby. Amen, Brother Kirby. Yeah,
I think that's because we're harder on ourselves, like I said, as cooks, and we probably really need to be.
And I cooked some beef ribs, and I when I cooked the beef ribs, it was a rainy, crappy day. And I never forget, it was ice out there. It was just a horrible day. And the smoker just couldn't get to the right temperature. But I cooked all the beef ribs. So I tasted those beef ribs and I said, wow, I never tasted anything like this before in my life to this day. And I ate the beef ribs. I said, I never tasted beef ribs this good before. There was beef back ribs, okay? So I carried these beef ribs to this party, to this college court. I mean, this college, whatever it was something to do with college at Upper University. This guy had my beef ribs, okay? And let's fast forward to 2019. I'm at a Turkey Federation banquet, a Wild Turkey Federation banquet. And I'm walking out, and the guy asked me, "Are you TNT?" And hold on 1 second, Jane. Hold on 1 second. Talk. I got somebody at my door knocking.
Gotcha. Go ahead. Yeah. So Kirby Barbecue says, I agree, James. I spent many a times fretting over a cook, only to have a customer come back and say that was the best they've ever had. Yeah. As a cook, and then I this has happened many times for me. We're harder on ourselves than I think we really need to be. I've had plenty of cooks where I thought, that they were just absolutely, well, I don't want to say horrible, but they weren't up to my standards. But the customer has been like, wow, that's been amazing. So, I don't know. I think being a little harder on ourselves, maybe there's some benefit to that. because we strive as cooks for perfection. But I think maybe we need to give ourselves a little bit of leeway sometimes.
I wish I could, James. When you figure that out, you let me know. You were stressing when you, James.
Randy, dude, I'm telling you, dude, I was ready. I was ready to give back literally half of what they paid me this past weekend.
Yeah.
Just because I wasn't too happy with it, but they absolutely loved it. Like I said, and then ended up paying me more. I'm like, shh.
I don't.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
God bless. I mean, it was definitely a blessing.
Amen.
Randy, what's going on, brother Randy? Big Salinas Barbecue. What is brisket made from? A real truth. Brisket is made from so real quick, if you're right, if you're looking at a cow, and I might be as big as some cows, I don't know, but you're looking at the chest muscle here. Who's asking? Real truth. You're looking at like the chest muscle of a cow, and this is why it's so tough because as cows walk, it's what's considered a working muscle, right? So every time they walk, they're stepping on that muscle and working it, making it really tough. And that's why the brisket is so tough and it takes so long to really make tender. But it comes from the chest part here. I don't know if you can even see what I'm showing, but it comes from the chest part here. So from one cow you get two briskets. You get a right side and the left side, right, from each cow. So it comes from this part here anyway. Bada says we are our own worst critics. Absolutely.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yeah, and thank you for letting them know about where the brisket come from. And we're not gonna get on the right side or left side. Which one is the tender?
That's a different debate.
Yes. So make a long story short, James, the guy seen me and he told me I ruined him for barbecue for the rest of his life. He said that beef rib was the best bite of anything he ever had in his life, and he's been searching for that. So, so sometimes when you hit the mark, and you can never hit that mark again,
right?
It's like you're chasing a pipe dream. So so I think that's what gives us our edge, James. And that's what gives Kirby his edge. It's that toughness on ourselves to reach that mark. And I think if you don't have that, you need to get excuse my expression, the hell out of the kitchen.
Yeah.
Because you got it, Jane. I think I got it. A lot of people got it. Uncle Steve had to have it in his shakes. All us guys out here, we trying to get it because we want to make sure when we cooking for our friends or our family that it's the best we can put out there. Yeah. Yeah.
And so J.R. Wilson says he lives in South Carolina, and people are telling him that $15 a pound is too much for barbecue. I'm gonna tell you, J.L. Wilson. He's asking what is a good price here in Texas. Well, when you say 15 pounds, I'm not sure exactly what meat you're talking about, but even if it's brisket, beef rib, or even pork ribs, I mean, if it's brisket, you need to go a minimum 20 pounds. I'm sorry, $20 a pound to make some money. I don't think 15. So the folks that are saying 15 pounds is too much are the cheap folks who, no matter what you tell them, are going to want something cheaper. Yeah. Don't J.R. Wilson, don't undersell yourself. There's going to be someone who will always say, and I actually just learned this past weekend. I realized this past weekend hanging out with some of my buddies who own barbecue restaurants, some of the best in the state. If someone's coming to you saying 15 pounds is too much, that's not someone you want to deal with.
Yeah.
For brisket at minimum $20 a pound for brisket, and then each meat from there, like pulled pork or ribs, will kind of vary. But shit, $15 a pound for ribs, I don't think it's too much.
Mm-mm.
So it just kind of depends on what you're selling at the 15 pounds. But absolutely do not undersell yourself. Don't lower your prices just to try to pick up an extra customer or to try to play somebody. It just isn't worth it.
You don't want that customer.
No, absolutely not. That's going to be a customer who's going to be a pain in your ass every single time. You might make them happy the first time you get them, but I guarantee you the next time they want something, they're going to come back to you again, and they're going to want it for even cheaper. And they're going to say, well, last time you gave it to me for $15 a pound. How come I can't get it this time? You don't want to deal with that shit. Trust me.
Nope. I'm going to add this to that there. Okay, so say for instance, you got brisket, James, okay? And if you get a 20-pound brisket, you pay $5 a pound. You trim it down, you got 4 pounds trim or 20-pound brisket, so you got 16 pounds left. You cook it, it's 8 pounds. So actually, instead of you paying $5 a pound, you got paid $10 a pound for a brisket. Yeah. So if you're paying $10 a pound, and you're not including your time, you're not including your seasonings, your rub, your size.
Absolutely.
So basically, you can't serve it for $50 a pound because that's what you get into the brisket, which is seasoning. So understanding the breakdown of it, So I'm just saying, I tell people this all the time, and I know this sounds kind of anal, but you have to believe this way. I'm not the cheapest. I'm just the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not the cheapest. I'm just the best. Cheap and good don't go together.
Absolutely.
I want a good, cheap, brakes. I got some cheap brakes. I'm not good they are.
You buy a. So where I'm at, if I buy a 16-pound brisket, for example, that's going to run me right now. That's going to run me about $80-$90 a brisket. And like you said, after the trim, after the cooking process, you take a 16-pound brisket, you're only looking at 8 pounds.
Yeah.
So now you got an 8-pound brisket that you spent $90 for, right? So Amen. 8 pounds. Even if you did $20 a pound, or $15. If you did $15 a pound, you're looking at, at 7 to 8 pounds. You're looking at
8-pound brisket times 15.
Yeah, you're looking like an 8-pound brisket times 15, looking at 120. When you spent 90 for it, so that's $30 that you're making. But now you're taking account your wood, your rub, your time. You're not making anything.
Gas to get to the store. Amen.
Right.
Amen.
You're not making anything. So you got to charge, 20 plus pounds.
So if you charge, let's say for instance, you charge $22 a pound times 8, $176. That's not bad for a fully cooked brisket. you know. But I recommend you charge $25 a pound. To me, that's fair. $25 a pound fair, guys. You know, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like
A slab
again,
of ribs, in my opinion, a slab of baby backs should be $25. A slab of spares should be $35. A slab of spare ribs should be $35.
yeah, you know, I charge 30 for a whole spare ribs, but I
Okay.
mean, you know, I'm able to get them a little cheaper, but obviously if the price went up, then I would have to charge more.
Yeah.
But another thing, I think someone said, hold on real quick. Who was this? Jason said, "You get what you pay for." Absolutely.
Amen.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you listen, if you want to, and man, I get I get this often. People say, "Well, I don't want to pay that much for a brisket." Okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to get you a select brisket, and I'm only going to season it with salt and pepper. It isn't going to be as tender. It isn't going to be as moist. So don't expect me to take a select brisket, do some freaking magic, and make it taste like a prime, because that isn't going to happen. So, you know what? If that's what you want to pay for, okay, but that's what you're going to get. You know.
Amen. Well, James, thank you for dropping the knowledge, brother. I really appreciate you coming in here and helping me out, man. I so appreciate you, James. Thank you, guys. And if you're not subscribed to James' channel, man, what are you waiting on, guys? This is my boy James from Aiming and Claiming Smoker. Click on the link. Tell a friend that it's somebody
Right.
on YouTube doing it right. That's your boy James Aiming and Claiming. And try to be his friend on Facebook. Wait a minute, I forgot he came. So
No. I think you can still find me for the next 3 days. I just can't comment for the next 3 days.
Thank you, Kirby. So guys, like I say, man, we appreciate you. We love you. And like I always say, Kirby, you know how I say, Kirby, God bless you and God bless America.
Absolutely.
We out of here, guys. Peace. Thank you. Love all y'all guys. See y'all later.
Later, guys.